Chodesh Tov, welcome everyone. Great to be with you here on the new moon of Aries, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of the astrological year, the beginning of this new and beautiful cycle. And what an important Rosh Chodesh it is because we're in such a critical time and we have the ability to change so much with our consciousness, with our actions with our study as we're doing every day. So let's meditate that we're in the first few hours, right? Within the first day, the first few hours of this year. Let's meditate that we fill, just as we're filling this day with light, with consciousness, with the light of the Zohar, with love. We want to make sure that fills this entire month of Aries, make sure it fills this entire year full of this energy. Every day leading up to Pesach, part of our selfishness, our ego is purified, is cleansed. We are cleansed every single day of this month to come to Pesach with a little less ego, a little less selfishness, a little less negativity. So just naturally, there's a purifying energy of this month as well. So let's meditate that through this study. We're opening our hearts, we're awakening more love, we're connecting to the tree of life reality, we're transforming all aspects of our selfishness, our lack, our negativity into sharing, studying, as Rav Ashlag reminds us, as we learn from the Zohar, studying Lishma for the sake of transformation, for the sake of connection with the Creator, for the sake of revealing more love in the world. So, with deep appreciation for this great merit that we have, let's read the prayer of the Ari, drawing support from all the tzaddikim, awakening the light of our soul. Feeling the blessing it is to be chosen to be part of this work. ריבון העולמים ואדוני האדונים אב הרחמים הסליחות מודים אנחנו לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו בגידה ובשתך ושקר ותן תורתך ולעבודתך ולקודש ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה ועל חיינו אשר עשיתי ועל החסד הגדול כזה. לכן אנחנו מפילים תחננו לפניך שתמכו ותסלח לנו חטאותינו ועוונותינו ועד יום עוונותינו בעינינו לפניך. וכן יוסף לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולאהבתך ותקשיב אוזניך לדבר נראה ותפתח לבנו הערה בסודות תורתך ויהי על מדיננו זה נחת רוח לפני חסך בדרך כך ניחוח ותציל אלינו עום מכל נשמתנו וכל בחינתנו ושינוצצו ניסוסות בדרך הקדושים אשר ידם גילית דבריך לעולם וזכותם וזכות אבותם וזכות תורתם ותקנותם קדושתם יעמוד לנו למלך שבי דברים אלו וזכותם תארננו ומה שאנו עומדים כמאמר נעים זמירות ישראל גל עיני ואביד נפלא מתורתך כי אדוני יתן חוכמה מפיו דעת ותבונה יגיד אותו מפיו הגד מלפניך אדוני צור וגואלי. So, last few paragraphs of this chapter, and then we'll go on to next chapter. We're describing, the Zohar is explaining how everything that the brothers, Jacob's children, did in the sale of Joseph and the experience that Jacob went through mirrors what Jacob himself did to his father and what his father, Isaac, experienced through that process. Because whatever we do is whatever we do always comes back. There's always if we cause someone else pain, if we cause darkness in the world to whatever degree, that plants a negative seed, and that returns to us. So Jacob, even though what he was doing was right, as the Zohar said, by having to deceive his father to take the blessing from him, nevertheless, it still created a degree of cleansing that needed to be had. Again, it's not punishment, but he had to go through a certain process to be able to purify those aspects of negativity or darkness that he caused. So the Zohar compared three ways that they were similar. Jacob's actions towards his father were similar to Jacob's children towards Jacob. And now the Zohar is going to explain a couple more things that are similar in and how it mirrors once again. So paragraph 143, Bechia says, Bektiv, with Jacob, with the blessing to his father, it says, Hataza b'ni esav imlo. When Isaac was trying to figure out what's going on, he asked, Isaac said to Jacob, come close, my son, so I can feel you. Beni Esav imlo. Let me see if you are really my son Esau or not. Lektiv, and when it comes to Jacob's children, his sons speaking to him, it says Haketone bin Chahi imlo. He uses that same phrasing. They say they sent the multicolored coat, and they bring it to their father, and they say Zot matzanu, we found this. Hakelna, examine it, please. Do you recognize? Haketone bin Chahi imlo. Is this your son's tunic or not? The same phrasing as Jacob used, that Isaac used when he was trying to figure out if it was Jacob, and the same phrase that the children were using almost rhetorically towards their father when identifying the coat of Joseph. So it's the same phrasing, which means it happened midah keneged midah, right? Measure for measure. Uvigin kach, therefore, the Creator is more meticulous, more specific, more strict with the tzaddikim, with everything they do. Now, if we think about it, it often sounds like it wouldn't be good for the Creator to be strict with us, right? But think about it. Judgment, we've spoken about this before. Judgment is only bad for someone who doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Right? Imagine if your performance was very strict, meaning every good thing you got, you immediately got rewarded for it at work, let's say. And you were compensated to the same degree of the good thing that you did. And then every bad thing you did, you were compensated for every, in the same way, in accordance to every bad thing you did. If you never did anything bad, and you only went above and beyond, and you only did good, and you only did better than everyone else, and you always superseded any expectations, then you would only receive a lot of reward, a lot of great things for what you did. So the problem with judgment is only when you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And because the tzaddikim are on a different scale than us, and because, for example, for a tzaddik, like the Ari would explain, when you do a positive action, when you do a mitzvah, you should imagine that when you're doing this positive action, you are receiving millions and millions of pounds, millions of dollars when you do this action. I'm going to now, let's say I'm going to study the Zohar. I'm going to, do my morning connection. I'm going to connect on Shabbat. I'm going to put on tefillin. Before I do those mitzvot, before I do any positive action, before I help someone, before I give tzedakah, I should imagine that I'm going to receive that, have that excitement that my bank account is going to be flooded with millions of dollars right now. How different would that action be? The Ari says every positive action should be like that. Not because you want to psych yourself out, but actually because the light you receive is even greater than that. And to the degree that you understand the light that you're receiving, then you're going to actually receive more of it. So the tzaddikim, because they actually do awaken that kind of light, right? When a tzaddik does a positive action, because their consciousness is so pure, because their heart is so open, because they, with the meditation and the purity of their action and consciousness, they do really cause all that light to be awakened in the world. The Kabbalists say that even the simple actions, the mundane actions, the mundane words of a tzaddik are holier than the holiest action of someone else. Right? Like I give the example of Rav Brandwein. Rav Brandwein, the Rav's teacher, he was a bricklayer. He was a construction worker during the day. Yes, at night, he would study the deepest secrets and teach the deepest secrets and write the greatest revelations. And he studies from the greatest tzaddik, and he from his teacher being Rav Ashlag and his student being Rav Berg, right? There's very few who can claim such greatness in their lifetime. Yet, during the day, he did very mundane actions. But believe me, his mundane actions of building a pool or a house or a road, the most mundane thing that Rav Brandwein ever did, could probably be holier than the holiest thing any of us ever do. Right? I always wonder who lives in those houses that he built, right? Can you imagine that Sadiq builds your house? Imagine how much energy and consciousness and power and light there must be in everything that he did, especially because he was doing it to reveal the light of the Zohar in the world. So, because their actions are so full of consciousness and light and purity, they're able to handle the judgment. And therefore, the minute, subtle things are more extreme. They're just like they reveal more light and positive actions, and more subtle actions driven by selfishness or ego or uncertainty actually has a greater effect as well. It's on a greater scale. And that's also we can't spend too much time on this, but that's also why we want to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Because first of all, like it says, the Kabbalists say, the only reason why a person does something negative is because they don't know the light of their soul. If I was aware of how powerful my thoughts, my words, my actions were, if I was aware with my consciousness who I really am, if I considered the light of my soul and the greatness of my soul, then just as the Creator is more meticulous with the tzaddikim, I'd be more meticulous with myself. Again, not thinking from an egotistical place that I'm a tzaddik, but realizing I have great light, I have great responsibility. The words that I say, the actions that I do, the thoughts that I have, they make a difference. They matter, right? The little white lies that Jacob told his father decades earlier, they still created baggage for him, and that needed to be cleansed. So let's continue paragraph 144. And this will be, I think, the last paragraph of this chapter. Rabbi Abba says, after the brothers saw the pain, the grief that their father went through, and we know that Jacob, after he lost Joseph, Jacob lost his divine inspiration. Jacob was in mourning for decades, for 2 decades. He was depressed for 2 decades. Jacob, who is the pinnacle of spiritual spiritual progress, pinnacle of restriction, the master of restriction, the central column, the chosen one of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Even Jacob went through 20 years of depression after he lost his son. Even he went through darkness, right? He went through actually 130 years of darkness. Does that mean he wasn't spiritual? Of course not. The darkness a person goes through doesn't determine their spiritual state. The truth is, because he was so spiritual, he was able to go through such darkness and cleanse that negativity from himself and the world. But when the brothers saw that pain that he went through, when they saw the pain that they themselves caused by selling their brother, by taking away their brother from their father, they surely regretted what they did. They regretted selling Joseph. And they wanted to do anything. They would give up themselves. They spend all their time and energy to do what they can to try and find, to redeem, to rescue Joseph. They went to try and find who they sold him to and try to get him back. They did everything they could to get Joseph back. Had they found him, they would have. And when they realized they could no longer save him, they realized they couldn't find him, they realized they couldn't bring him back, they went straight to their leader, to Judah. They went to Judah and they said, and they told Judah, Judah was king over the other brothers, and he relinquished, they took him out of his position as king. They like dethroned him as the king, We know Judah is eventually the line of King David and the Messiah. And they said, you know what, Judah, you got us in this trouble, right? Because what happened? Uh, you have a Malka Alayhu. Judah was king over the brothers, as he would be right later on in the line of King David. And they moved him away. They got rid of him. They took him away as their king. So why did they take Judah away as a king? Why did they remove him from his position and from his leadership over them? And this was for a long time. They had an idea of killing Joseph, specifically Shimon and Levi, Simon and Levi. They wanted to kill him. Reuben said, don't kill him, right? Trying to save his life. Don't kill him. Throw him into the pit, hoping that later on he would come and save him. While they're sitting there, he's in the pit. Reuben's away. They see the traveling the travelers, right? They see different travelers, merchants. Judah was the one who said, what good does it do if he dies in the pit? Let's go and sell him. Let's make some money off of this. What good does it do for us if he just dies here? Let us make a few pounds of silver from this, right? So they said they got like 20 silver coins and they bought shoes with this. So the brother said, you were our leader. Had you told us, guys, forget this. This is a bad idea. We should not be selling our brother. What kind of crazy thing have we gotten ourselves into? We have to bring him back to our father. The brother said, had you told us that? You told us to sell him and we listened. Had you told us not to sell him, we would have listened as well. So it says they got rid of him. They removed him from his position of leadership. It says at that time that Judah left his brothers, but he descended. It said he went down from his brothers, and he went Vayet ad Isha Dulami Ushmo Chira, and he turned to a man whose name was Chira, and this begins the journey of Yehuda, and we're going to start to learn about that as well. So Yehuda, he descended from his brothers, just as Joseph descended down to Egypt, as we'll learn the correlation. Yehuda also descended from his brothers. He was lowered from his position of leadership. Okay, so chapter 14, Zion and Jerusalem, Zion and Yerushalayim. The Zohar is now going to explain these two concepts because we're speaking about Judah now. We're going to go into the process of Judah. Yehuda is the leader. He's the king. He represents Messiah. He represents King David. He represents Jerusalem. He represents Malchut. So now the Zohar is going to go into this whole concept of the Malchut, of this aspect of correction in the vessel and the differentiation between these two levels. So first of all, we know Zion and Jerusalem are very similar, right? They can be used interchangeably, but they have a different internal energy, right? Often people understand Zion as a part of Jerusalem or the perfected Jerusalem or the place of the temple. We'll understand spiritually their spiritual position and understanding. But first to understand, out of the four cities, the holy cities, Jerusalem is the city of fire, right? Jerusalem represents, to some degree, the energy of judgment, right? Like we said, that's how so much light was able to be revealed, because it's the energy of fire, it's the energy of judgment. The four holy cities, which are, right, Tiberias, Tiberia, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, Tzfat, Safed, Hebron, in all these four cities, they have a specific significance, a specific light. So now the Zohar is going to go into Jerusalem, fire, left column, judgment. So the Zohar says, paragraph 145, Rabbi Yehuda opened and said, Vayarem b'shamayim Hashem ve'elyon iten kolo barad v'gechal yesh. So verse 18, in Psalm 18, verse 14, it says, then God thundered from heaven, the Most High gave forth his voice, hail and fiery coals. What is this verse describing? How does it have to do with anything we're talking about? We'll find out. When the Creator created the world. Now here, Rav Shimon reminds us, we're talking about when the Creator created our world, which means when the Creator created the Nukva, the Malchut which causes our world, which is called Olam. Olam means world, but Olam also means Helem, which is our world of illusion. When the Creator created our world of illusion, which is the world we live in. Atkin le Shiva Samchim. The Creator created 7 pillars. What are these 7 pillars? Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Oops, supposed to be Malchut there. Okay, pretend this is also illuminated. The 7 pillars are the 7 Sfirot of Zerampin. We know that all the worlds that are created create the next or cause the level for the next. So Nukva Malchut is the last one. So Zerampin is what is the cause for that. And the other levels above are the cause for that. So these 7 pillars, Alad Kaima, what do these 7 pillars stand upon? How do they exist? Kulu Samchin, Kaima Bechad, Samcha Yechidai. All the different pillars, the 7 levels, the 7 Sfirot, all stand upon one singular pillar, which is Yesod, the Yesod of Zerampin. Yesod of Zerampin holds up the entire tree of life. And we've learned in the verse Dichtiv, as it says, Chochmot banta beita chatzva amudei shiva. It says that wisdom has built her house. She has hewn her 7 pillars. Right? So where did the house represents the vessel, the malchut, where was it built by? From the 7 pillars. When they all stand, they all exist on that one singular level, which is called the Yesod of Zerampin, the Tzaddik Yesod Olam, which is called the Tzaddik the righteous, which is the Yesod, the foundation, the everlasting foundation, the eternal foundation, which is Yesod. So the whole world exists on the Tzaddik, exists on the level of Yesod. This is what sustains everything. Now, by the way, there's some commentary here and some complicated things. I hope I understood them correctly, and I hope I explained them correctly. But we'll do our best, and I hope we also managed to complete this today. Paragraph 146. Because whenever we're talking about creation and inner working things, obviously it's going to be a little more complex, a little more detailed in its teachings. Don't worry about what you understand, don't understand. Just remember, we're plugging to the tree of life, awakening our surrounding light, and we're purifying our consciousness and revealing light in the world, especially today on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. I forgot to mention, I have the link. I'll hopefully share it. The link for us to all be part of the new Daily Zohar book that is coming out. So I hope at the end I'll explain a bit about that and share that link. Okay, paragraph 146. When the world was created, as we explained before, it's from that specific place. It was created from that initial point. That is the incorporation, perfection, improvements of the world and its perfections. That is a singular point in the world. And it is the middle of everything. What is this middle point that began the creation of everything? Tzion. It's called Zion. Tzion, which represents what's called the Yesod, the inner Yesod of Nukva, of Malchut. We'll explain what that means soon. Kind of. Dichtiv, as it says, Mizmor le'asaf el Elokim diber vayikra el Elokim Hashem diber vayikra eretz b'mizrach shemesh al mavo'ah. So it says in Psalm 50, verse 1, it says, a psalm of Asaph, the Lord God spoke and summoned the world. The Creator summoned the world from the east to the west. Now, where did the Creator begin creation? Which means it says that the Creator created the world from east to west. So as the world was created, it was a starting point, and it spread to the west. Where is that starting point? What is this? Where is this specific place the creation began? Mitzion, from Zion. Where did physicality begin from? Where is the origins? Where is right? So the world had to start somewhere. Where is the first place the light of the Creator began to shine to create our physical world? Zion, Zion. Now, again, we're not specifically talking about a physical place. While there is a physical place, we know that is the point of the Holy of Holies, the center of. That's what we call it, the center of the world, the center of the universe, the energy center. That's Jerusalem, and where the place of the temple and the Holy of Holies is. And it says it started in Zion. The next verse, verse 2 of Psalm 50, it says, "From Zion, perfect beauty, God appeared." From that place, it's from that place that the aspect of the correction of perfect perfection, perfect certainty, as it should be, began. Tzion Zion is the strength and the innermost point of the entire world. And here Rav Ashlag explains, what does it mean that it's the strength? It means it represents the light of Chokhmah, the light of wisdom, and the point, the singular point, which represents light of mercy. So that represents the place of the perfect balance between light of mercy and light of wisdom. Light of mercy and light of wisdom represents when there's a balance between these two energies. Light of Chokhmah, which is wisdom, and light of mercy, which is Chasadim. Then creation, then light can manifest. And from that place, the world was constructed and perfected, and it was made from there, which means it was with the light of wisdom that was within it. And from within it, the whole world is sustained, which means it's the light of mercy that's within it. Paragraph 147. Come and see. So now the Zohar is going to break down this verse and break down the creation. So we said that begins in Zion, in Zion, and everything is from there, from Jerusalem. But now the Zohar is breaking down the verse here. So it says, "Vayarem b'shamayim Hashem." So the verse is a little repetitive. It says the Creator thundered from heaven, Velion, the Supreme One, the Most High, Yiten Kolo, gives his voice. So if there's thundering from the heaven and the Creator giving his voice, isn't that the same? What's the difference here? And then what does it have to do with the fiery hail and fiery coal? It's later than I wanted it to be, but we'll just finish this, I guess, and we'll continue tomorrow. Once it said that there was the thundering heaven from from God, why does it then say that the Creator gives his the Most High, the Supernal Supreme One, gives his voice? So here we mentioned, this is Rabbi Yehuda's revelations. He's saying, from here we know there's the secret of certainty, as I said, that Zion is the construction, the perfection of the beauty of this world. And the world is nourished from this level. Because within the level of Tzion, of Zion, there are the two levels of both Chokhmah, wisdom, and Chasadim, mercy. The perfect balance, the perfect recipe for revelation and light. Because there are two levels, V'inun Chad, but they are one. Inun, what are these two levels? Tzion v'Yerushalayim, Zion and Jerusalem. Dadina v'darachame. One is judgment, one is mercy. V'tavayu Chad, and they are both one. Mehacha dina mehacha rachame. From one comes judgment, from one comes mercy. So Zion represents, as Rav Ashlag here he adds, that Zion is what's called, both these levels are both what are called the Yesod of Malchut, the Yesod of the Nukva, foundation, the Yesod of Malchut. But within them there are two aspects of this Yesod. There is what's called the inner aspect of Yesod, which is called Zion, and that is the aspect, from there comes the light of mercy, from there emerges the light of wisdom, and this is the aspect of mercy. As we said, Jerusalem is judgment in general, it's fire. But there is the merciful side of judgment and the judgmental side of judgment. So Zion represents the merciful side of judgment. Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, represents the external aspect of Yisod Malchut. Don't worry if you don't understand what all this means. Just saying these words elevates our consciousness. But it represents the side of judgment of judgment. This will go into more tomorrow. Okay? Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue from paragraph 148, but we'll start to break this down and explain how these different levels, what it has to do with the verse, how this interaction works, what these different levels mean, and then hopefully we'll also draw some practical or relevant understandings as well. So we're going to stop here and tomorrow continue with 148. Just to mention again, today's Rosh Chodesh is the first day of the year. It's a very powerful time to share, especially. And as we said, we're starting our new mission together to raise the money to help print, to follow editing costs and the printing costs, to be part of the printing of the new Daily Zohar book. This is something that Michael Berg is working on with an amazing team to help create a book with 365 sections of the Zohar with inspiration, with consciousness to start the day with, to guide our souls, to help more and more souls connect to the light of the Zohar, to make this just as the Daily Zohar study, just as the Daily Zohar videos that we have on Kabbalah.com helps more people connect. This will be on a completely different level for even people who have no understanding of the Zohar, even people who don't understand, even an understanding of Kabbalah, they will be able to connect to the Zohar in their own way, in a very simple way, with beautiful, inspirational, life-changing messages, and more importantly, the light and the energy that comes from it. So our goal is, by Lag BaOmer, to raise $52,000 to help publish this amazing, beautiful book that is going to come out in 2027. And I'll post the link in the chat. Let's do everything we can to make this happen. We'll post it so we can all be a part of it. And with the energy of Rosh Chodesh, with the energy of the first day of this beautiful month, of this beautiful year, I think we're going to make it happen. So thank you all for your support. Lots of love to everyone. Have an amazing day. Chodesh Tov, and see you soon.